Welcome to Unmasking Social, where we talk about building real friendships and meaningful connections without masking who we truly are. I'm your host, Sharon Baum, a speech and language pathologist with an expertise in social thinking and how it relates to autism and ADHD, specifically with our teens and tweens. Let's dive in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Unmasking Social. This episode's different. There's actually absolutely no lighting. I actually usually have trouble with lighting. There's no mic. There's just me and my headphones on, just speaking to you guys as the new year is here, 2026. This episode's a little different. It's a solo show, which I haven't done in a while. Solo shows can be really difficult, but I think it's important to have one as we embark on the new year. Now, I am not the type of person that makes New Year's resolutions because I feel that that puts a lot of pressure on what you want to achieve. And then if you don't achieve it, then you can be very self-critical. Instead, I think about goals that I have in mind, things that I want to achieve, and I kind of throw them in the back of my mind without really writing down the resolution. So in terms of resolutions, I don't have any, but I am reflecting and I am trying to set intentions as we step into the new year together. And if you're listening to this and you're feeling tired or you're feeling reflective or hopeful but cautious, then this is the right place for you. I mean, this year has been incredible with the podcast in terms of having these meaningful and powerful conversations with so many amazing guests from neurodivergent individuals themselves who have taken on the role of advocating for those who are neurodivergent all across the world, as well as these professionals that try day in and day out to improve themselves and become better at their role so that those who are neurodivergent can be supported. Of course, there are the parents, and the parents are the ones that every episode I feel even more uplifted just because of all the work that they've done. One of the takeaways that I've learned from the parents that have been on this episode is that they will do whatever it takes to make sure that their child gets what they need when it comes to supports, when it comes to love, when it comes to meeting them where they are. The parents that have been featured on this podcast didn't expect their lives to turn out in the way that they did. They expected that they would have a neurotypical child. And now, not only do they embrace their neurodivergent child, but they love them. They're on a journey with them, as Dr. Robert Nassif said. He went on a journey with his non-speaking autistic child. This whole year for me personally has been one that has been a little challenging at times. And as the year came to a close, I realized I needed to pause and just be with myself and take the time off from work to just reflect. And this is where things get really hard because we are in such a go society that we have no time to think about anything. And when there's no time to think about anything, it is just so easy to just keep going and just not think about the things that may be holding you back or bringing you down. So I actually did this trend. You guys can check it out. It's on ChatGPT, where you can say, based on what you know about me, what do you think the upcoming year holds for me? Or what's the one word for the new year based on all the information? ChatGPT has a lot of data on me just because I do ask them professional questions, and then I ask them questions also about ways to respond to certain things. And I use it in a conservative way, but it still has that data. And the word that it chose for me was alignment. That this is going to be a year of alignment. It's not going to be about hustling. It's not about being resilient, which I believe we all are. Anybody who has been on this podcast, who listens to this podcast, I myself was forced into resilience many times, especially this year, out of all years. 2025 was one that was forced resilience. But now it's not a focus on hustling. It's not a focusing on trying to achieve constantly, which has been my pattern. My pattern is that I want to achieve as much as I possibly can to show myself always that, yeah, you can do it. You can do that, and you can do that, and you can do that. I remember I used to be so busy that I really barely had even a moment to like sit down. And now I'm heading into the new year, having sat down these last couple of weeks at many different coffee shops, having sat down at many different places with others. And it's interesting because it really forces you to really reflect, but also think about your own healing journey. And I know that all of us are on different healing journeys. This year for me was also about unmasking. It's interesting that the podcast came at just the right time. I was transitioning from an administrative role back to clinical SLP role, which is my jam, which is why this podcast was started, because I've had the luxury as a speech and language pathologist to work with our neurodivergent teens and tweens. And I unmasked. I basically was forced to think about what mattered to me, what was important to me, what fit for me, letting go of expectations and relationships that no longer fit. Because when you unmask, as I always say on this podcast, you can truly be yourself. And in so doing, it's not an easy road. I really do hope that for all of us, we can all be aligned in 2026. And alignment for me means that my nervous system, my values, my choices are going to speak the same language. They're going to be in alignment. So if my values are aligned and my choices are aligned, then my nervous system can be maybe a little more safe, a little more calm. And we've spoken about regulation on this podcast many times. And the theme comes up over and over again about how to self-regulate. And the truth is, when you really break it down, a regulated individual is usually tuned into what they need from the world, what they need from themselves. And that's exactly what I'm leaning into. I don't think anybody this year, including myself, should be forcing themselves into spaces that they don't feel safe, whether it be professionally, emotionally, or socially. If something doesn't feel safe, then that's not in alignment. So again, we have to pick our rhythms. We have to choose our work. We have to choose our people, our tribe. And we want to make sure that we're not shrinking in the process and not having to over-explain ourselves or not having to not be understood. You want to surround yourself with people who understand you. And that's been a theme on this podcast too to date, that every podcast episode we speak about finding that tribe and surrounding yourself with people who understand you and people who will uplift you, not surrounding yourself with people who may unintentionally or intentionally bring you down, and knowing that the people that are in your tribe are those people that will have your shared values, that will go after the same things, and will be there for you when you truly need them. It is really powerful, and unmasking is truly a brave move for anyone that has had to really go through an unmasking period where they take the mask off, check in with their values, and not perform anymore, and actually let themselves go. It can be really destabilizing. And I experienced that this year, that destabilization of unmasking when I had to make some big decisions. And, there is a grief that is associated with it. There are tears that are shed. I mean, I don't know how many tears have been shed this year, but there are tears that are shed when you have a path in mind, a road in mind, and it just doesn't work out, whether it's a relationship or work or both. It can be very destabilizing, and there is grief that nobody wants to speak about, because grief usually is when somebody passes away. But there's another type of grief, which is the longing for something that was, or falling off a script of what you were expected to do, or the grief for what you don't have yet, the pre-grief. And there's confusion. There was a lot of confusion this year about how to heal from decisions that I made that were really big and then at the same time impacted me in larger ways. But then you think about, if you are out there and you're neurodivergent, after you unmask, if you choose to unmask and really show up as yourself and who you truly are, rather than being performative or having to perform, and I still do this. I still do perform, even though I don't necessarily want to. I do put on the mask a lot, but we all put on a mask in different situations, and there's going to be an episode about that too, that the mask does come on and off in general for all of us. But after you fully unmask and you take everything away and you think that, and your path just basically, or the road gets pulled from under you, it's a moment where you feel like, okay, where do I fit in? How do I fit in? And it can be really difficult because after alignment comes after unmasking actually comes alignment. Then you have to think about what aligns with you in terms of relationships. There's an element of reciprocity in relationships too. It's not always going to be about someone being available, but this reciprocal where you can give and get back. I think it's important not to chase connections. I think that this year, I think with alignment is going to be a lot of meditation, where being in the moment and really trying to feel what's going on in my body to stay steady. I think that feeling that you get when you're around other people who fill your cup, it's an amazing feeling because your body feels very different than it's around a state of confusion or doubt. Your nervous system is activated in a way which is confusing and it's disrupted. It's because maybe you're not in the right place, whether it be work or a relationship or a family's dynamic, and it could be hurtful. But yeah, this year really made me think about what is going to be the future for all of us, right? All our dreams, all our things that we want. I think it's really, again, still important to stay aligned, which is why I'm continuing with this podcast, because my part of my value system ever since I've been little, no matter what obstacles have come in my way, was to always share information with others and hope that people can learn from me in any way, or that I can learn from others. Um, and a dream of mine was to be a journalist, and now I feel like a traveling journalist going all around the world, from Pakistan to Uganda to Iran. That's what this year is going to be on this podcast, really branching out to see the world as a whole for the new year, because I think it's so important for all of us to know what is going on socially around the world. This neuroaffirming work that we do here is amazing and fantastic. And there are people in the East where this is not supported at all. No one's supporting them. No one's in the tribe with them, but they're still fighting for it because they believe in this neuroaffirming work, even though their country hasn't made it there yet. I think another thing is really knowing that you can be gentle to yourself. And I kind of want to offer everybody a gentle question as we enter this new year. Where in your life do you feel like you're forcing something that no longer fits? I feel like we all have things that no longer fit. I know this year was a year that I worked on getting rid of things that maybe no longer suited me, and heading into 2026, it's going to be try on season, trying on new things that hopefully fit a little bit better. But where in your life do you think something no longer fits, something that fit before? And that's tough because, again, this all goes back into alignment, right? Alignment in terms of, can we get to the place that you need to be where you are fully fit? So yeah, New Year's has always been tricky for me. I've always hated it. I've always despised it because I always felt like I didn't do enough. That's the self-critic in me. I'm always saying, no, I didn't do enough. I didn't do enough. No matter what comes up in life, whether it's a project or whether it's me trying to do something, didn't do it enough, didn't do enough, should have done more. I'm the opposite of the one that can watch Netflix for hours and say, I feel comfortable. So it's really hard for people like us to not feel the weight or the burden, or view it as a burden of, oh no, a year has passed and a year has come. Oh my gosh, I hope this year these things change and I hope I can produce and accomplish more and more and more. But I really believe that this year will be a year of clarity, the year of the horse. It's the year of the horse. So it's going to be jumping at us, that horse. And it's going to be all about choosing what chooses us, right? Things that choose us, we can choose back. We don't need a dramatic reinvention. We don't have to rebuild everything. And leaning into those subtle moments or those silent moments and thinking about all of us and our healing journey and what peace really looks like for each of us. Peace looks different for different people to be at peace, but the general overarching thing is you're at peace when you know that you have found what you really are meant to be doing, your calling. And it could be a few different things. It could be many different things, but just including one thing that you really like to do into your daily practice this year. That's something that I'm going to try to do. No resolution. No, I'm not taking any huge steps that I know of right now, but who knows? Every day is a new day. We don't know what's going to happen. but really leaning into we all are going to be on this journey together to make strides towards what can bring us peace each day. This podcast is all about unmasking social, right? And social communication and engagement. But it's all about showing up as who you are based on your purpose, based on what makes you you, based on who you are as an individual. If you're a neurodivergent individual with autism, with social communication challenges, or with ADHD or dyslexia, or whatever it may be, what is it that brings you peace? What is one thing that brings you peace? And is that something that could be included in your daily routine, no matter where you are on the healing journey or on the journey of life? I think I've come to terms with the fact that I think it's a constant state of healing for some of us, that it's just going to be a constant state of healing, especially for us overthinkers who just want more, who always need more, who always think more. It's always about that. So come on this journey with me in 2026. I can't wait to have you there with me as we unmask social around the world and think about so many other people who don't have access that we do here, but who have people that are fighting tooth and nail to make sure that all individuals are accepted with true compassion, true inclusion, based on all the work that all of you have been doing, that have been on this podcast, that continue to show up for your loved ones. For the ones that are neurodivergent, you know who you are. You also are going to be on this journey with me, and you're also going to be choosing what chooses you, what brings you peace. And I hope that this podcast continues to help people around the world just with using social as a tool to connect. Cheers to 2026 and to the year of the horse and the year of alignment. Thank you for listening, and I will be back with a fresh episode next week. Tune in. It will be an international speaker.